Back in the day, streaming was so simple. You had your Netflix account that you paid $9 a month for, and it had all of your favorite shows and movies on it to watch, ad-free. It was a nice change from paying for cable TV, which was expensive, had tons of commercials, and didn't let you choose what to watch or when to watch it. Because of the headache that cable TV had become, Netflix quickly rose in popularity, and by 2013, had over 41 million paying subscribers and was pulling in over $4 billion in yearly revenue. However, as time has gone on, and as a result of the infamous streaming wars that began in 2019, massive players like Disney+, Max, and Peacock have entered the streaming world in an attempt to challenge Netflix and get their share of the reported $544 billion that the industry holds. Unfortunately for the consumers, the streaming wars have caused the streaming experience to become objectively worse. The cheapest streaming subscription plans now include advertisements, prices have gone up and continue to rise, and there's now arguably too many different streaming services to count. The streaming industry is now beginning to resemble the very problem that it sought to solve in the first place, cable TV. So how did the streaming industry get to be in this position? Let's find out. In 2007, Netflix became the first paid video-on-demand streaming site. For just $9 a month, you had unlimited access to Netflix's entire catalog of movies and TV shows to watch, well, on demand, whenever you wanted. And one of the most enticing features was that there were no ads or commercials. At the time, streaming was a very new concept. Everyone just paid for cable TV, which, at the time of Netflix's release, cost an average of $47.27 per month for an average of 73 channels. In addition to paying the monthly fee, cable also forced customers to see commercials, which no one likes. Cable also obviously had a set schedule of content that they would air. Customers had no option to choose when to watch something they wanted. Not only did cable allow no flexibility on the times they would air shows and movies, but around the time of Netflix's release, cable prices had been heavily increasing every single year. By mid-2008, cable prices had risen 77% since 1996, which was roughly double the rate of inflation in that same time period. Customers additionally reportedly only watched around 13% of the channels that they had access to, meaning they were paying for an overwhelming amount of channels that they never used. It's no surprise that, due to cable's high price and inflexibility, Netflix quickly rose in popularity. By the time Netflix introduced the first widely successful streaming series, House of Cards, on their platform in 2013, the company had over 41 million paying subscribers, compared to 7.3 million in 2007. And revenue nearly quadrupled in that same time period, from $1.2 billion in 2007 to $4.37 billion in 2013. Netflix was riding a massive high, as their financials were booming, and the company was dominating the video streaming industry with essentially no real competition. Netflix created all types of unique, original content in the 2010s, then allowed them to continue growing, with documentaries like Blackfish and TV shows like Better Call Saul, Narcos, and Stranger Things. Original content like this that Netflix fully owned and therefore only made available on their platform further increased a trend that was becoming more and more widespread: cord cutting. Cord cutting refers to switching from paying for cable to paying solely for streaming. People began to realize how much cheaper paying for streaming was compared to paying for cable, and how much more bang for your buck you got with streaming. As a result, cable TV experienced substantial drops in paying customers, with a peak of 105 million cable TV subscriptions in 2010. This number of paying cable customers fell to 83.8 million by the end of the decade in 2020, and has continued to fall to just 70 million in 2023. There was a massive cultural shift from people paying for cable just to watch a few shows every week to solely paying for streaming services and being able to enjoy a lot more movies and TV shows whenever they wanted to. Unfortunately for Netflix, the phenomenon of cord cutting and the rise of streaming did not go unnoticed by the rest of the market. By 2019, Netflix had 167 million paying subscribers and raked in over $20 billion in revenue, and other companies wanted to get a piece of the cake. It was during that year in 2019 that the infamous streaming wars began, as other companies attempted to penetrate the streaming market in an attempt to siphon money and users from Netflix. The streaming wars officially began in November 2019 as Disney rolled out Disney+. Disney Plus cost $6.99 a month and featured content from massive franchises that Disney owned the rights to, such as The Simpsons, various Star Wars movies, and a number of films from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was Netflix's first significant competition, as other streaming services in the past like Hulu never had a catalog of content that could truly compete with Netflix. Disney Plus seriously challenged Netflix's holding in the streaming industry, since the new streaming service not only had lots of extremely successful movie and TV franchises, but being that Disney was also a household name, the streaming service had no problem converting potential customers into paying subscribers. Disney Plus immediately saw promising results, and by the end of Q1 of 2020, the new streaming service reported $442 million in revenue and over 26 million paying subscribers. Now, from a consumer standpoint, paying for both Netflix and Disney Plus was not absurd. Sure, it would have been much simpler if everything was just on Netflix, but paying for two streaming services was far from overwhelming, and customers were still saving money compared to paying for cable. The real problem began to reveal itself when the streaming wars began to intensify, as other companies saw the potential money that could be made in the streaming industry. Roughly 6 months after the release of Disney+, NBC launched their own streaming service, Peacock, with the lowest monthly price being $4.99. Peacock featured tons of original TV shows and movies, as well as access to NBC Sports and the Hallmark Channel. Additionally, NBC announced that by January 2021, Peacock would hold the exclusive streaming rights to two of the most popular comedy shows, The Office and Parks and Recreation. And for the record, The Office is the better show, by far. A month after Peacock was launched, WarnerBros Discovery launched HBO Max, which started at $14.99 a month. HBO Max offered content from extremely successful brands such as Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, TBS, TNT, and obviously Warner Bros, Discovery, and HBO. If you were the average consumer, it was starting to become a real headache when deciding which streaming services to pay for. You most likely had a bunch of shows that you wanted to watch, however, they were spread out amongst a bunch of different services. When you factor in smaller streaming services that still have enticing content, such as Hulu, Paramount+, Apple TV+, and Amazon Prime Video, streaming can easily get overwhelming, and not to mention, pricey. Gone were the days of paying $9 for Netflix and being able to enjoy all of your favorite shows and movies on one service. Despite the streaming wars causing the streaming industry to become largely unappealing to consumers, the numbers show that people reluctantly began to branch out and pay for multiple services. The most recent subscriber figures in 2024 revealed that Netflix has 247 million paying subscribers, followed by Disney Plus with 150 million subscribers, and Max, which is the rebrand of HBO Max, has over 95 million subscribers. While Amazon Prime Video technically has 200 million users, this figure is largely inflated due to Prime Video being free to Amazon Prime users, which is like everyone, so Prime Video doesn't actually have 200 million paying subscribers. Nonetheless, this chart shows the massive industry that streaming has become, as it was reported that 99% of all US households pay for at least one streaming service. The most obvious downside to the results of the streaming wars is not just that the total cost has jumped significantly, but it's also that most of the streaming services have introduced various tiers to their subscription plans that forces customers to pay more to get all of the benefits. For example, Netflix now has 3 different subscription tiers: Standard with ads for $6.99 a month, Standard for $15.49 a month, and Premium for $22.99 a month. If we take a look at the benefits of the cheapest option, Standard with ads, you don't even get access to the entire catalog and movies and shows that Netflix has. Not to mention the fact that you'd be paying the $6.99 per month and still be served ads. Max also has an almost identical subscription tier system, although their cheapest tier that includes ads is $9.99 per month, and the cheapest tier on Disney Plus that includes ads costs $8 per month. One of the initial extremely attractive features of Netflix and streaming in general when it first became popular was that it eliminated ads if you paid the monthly subscription. Now, over a decade later, it seems like the experience has only gotten worse for the consumer. If you subscribe to the top 10 most popular streaming services at the cheapest prices available, you're looking at a monthly cost of $91. And since you would be paying for the lowest subscription tiers in this scenario, you would be paying $91 to see ads on all of these services as well. Now, let's say you're rolling in money and want to pay for the highest subscription tiers for the top 10 most popular streaming services to enjoy no ads, limited account sharing, Ultra HD quality, and more of the premium features that these companies have reserved for the highest subscription tiers. You're looking at a total of $145 per month. Insane, right? Recall that when Netflix initially released for $9 a month, the average cable bill was a little above $47 per month. Now in 2024, even though the average cable bill has risen to $83.35 per month, paying for all of the major subscription services is still more expensive than cable, even if you're paying for all of the cheapest streaming subscription tiers. The streaming industry has essentially forced you to pay for multiple services just to watch a handful of your favorite shows and movies. And, according to a report from Deloitte, this strategy has been successful, as Americans on average spend $61 per month on 4 different streaming services. Not only is $61 per month very pricey, but those prices are most likely going to continue going up. In 2023 alone, basically every major streaming platform hiked their prices. Netflix raised the prices of both their basic and premium plan, Max raised their prices and introduced a more expensive premium plan, and so on and so on. Prices were raised across the board. So if you thought you were paying a lot for streaming now, be prepared to eventually pay even more, as these streaming services test how much money they can squeeze out of their customers. Now, let's say back in the day, you subscribed to Netflix because your favorite show, The Office, was on there. And since you paid for Netflix, you decided to start watching a couple other shows on there as well, because why not? You already paid the monthly subscription, so you may as well get your money's worth. Well, along come the streaming wars in 2019, and all of a sudden, The Office is taken off Netflix and is now exclusively on Peacock. Well, since you're a huge Office fan, you need to buy a Peacock subscription, but you also don't want to give up your Netflix subscription because those other shows that you started watching actually turned out to be really interesting. Now you're in a position where you're paying for both Netflix and Peacock just to watch a total of 2 or 3 shows across both services. Does this situation sound familiar? If you think it does, it's because it sounds exactly like cable. Paying for cable used to mean paying a hefty monthly price just to watch a couple of channels, and to never watch the overwhelming majority of other channels that you were paying for. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Recently, major services have joined arms to offer streaming bundles. Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus have combined their services to offer the Disney Bundle Trio, which starts at a basic tier that includes ads for a cost of $14.99 per month. The premium tier that includes no ads on Disney Plus or Hulu, and does include ads on ESPN Plus, costs $24.99 per month. Paying for a bundle of services/channels. That sounds exactly like cable. We have officially gone full circle. So why is streaming more and more resembling cable TV, the original problem that streaming sought to solve? Well, just like almost anything in business, the answer is money. The owners of the most popular streaming services, Netflix, Amazon, and Disney, are all public companies, meaning that at the end of the day, their main priority is profits and increasing their share price. And in order to continue compounding profits, they have to continue raising prices, making customers pay for plans that include ads, and, in what is, in my opinion, the most obvious example of company greed, crack down heavily on password sharing. Password sharing is exactly what it sounds like. One person paying for a streaming subscription and then sharing their username and password with friends and family so that they can enjoy the streaming service as well. When Netflix began to rise in popularity in the mid-2010s, password sharing was extremely popular. So popular, in fact, that Netflix themselves endorsed the practice. Back in 2017, the official Netflix Twitter account tweeted, "Love is sharing a password." However, in May 2023, Netflix changed course and decided to heavily crack down on account sharing and no longer allows multiple people to be logged into the same account unless they are living in the same household. Very quickly after implementing this change, Netflix subscriptions spiked, as the overwhelming majority of people who were sharing accounts had to buy their own subscription. Disney Plus and Hulu saw the success of Netflix cracking down on account sharing and adopted similar restrictions, and Max intends to eventually enforce similar restrictions as well. Today, while the streaming wars are largely considered to be over, the effects are still present and will most likely forever affect the streaming industry. Companies have realized that the days of massive growth are over, so they are in turn aiming to focus less on acquiring new subscribers and instead focusing on getting more money out of each subscriber. How far will these streaming services go to squeeze every penny out of their customers? Are you content with what the streaming industry has become? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more.